Welcome back to Morning Joe. It's half past the hour. Back now to the fallout from the Supreme Court's landmark decision to overturn Roe v. Wade. In the business world, companies are bracing for a political and social battle unlike anything in our lifetimes, with most keeping quiet after the ruling came down, and some speaking out about their health care policies, but not criticizing the decision itself. On Friday, several companies said they would cover employee travel expenses for abortions, including companies such as Macy's, Goldman Sachs, and Dick's Sporting Goods. They now join other businesses like Starbucks, Google, and J.P. Morgan, who said they would do the same after the court's draft opinion leaked earlier this year. Joining us now from the Aspen Ideas Festival, columnist and editor for the New York Times Steelbook and co-anchor of CNBC Squawk Box, Andrew Ross Sorkin, with another beautiful background. Andrew, how is Wall Street grappling with Friday's decision?
Look, this has been one of those decisions that has just ripped through the business community. It's a conversation, as we're all having around dinner tables, often on Slack channels and Zoom meetings and in the office, to the extent that people are in offices, work from home and the like. And within the big corporate world, clearly people are coming out with notes and memos that are suggestive of what they hope to be able to do in terms of paying for abortions for those who are unable to do it in those states where there are trigger laws in effect. Having said that, and you pointed it out, in virtually every statement, none of them, or virtually none of them, criticize the decision itself, nor do they actually even discuss the decision. They just suggest in a almost obtuse way these new policies. The other piece of this that's actually fascinating, though, is, we're talking about a lot of the biggest companies in America that are making these decisions, that are willing to make these payments to help their employees. The real challenge is going to be for the smaller companies that can't afford to do this, and for the employees of those companies that are unable to get access that way. And so there's going to be a tale of two worlds. If you work for a Fortune 500 company in America today, you very well may get this type of health care as a benefit. Smaller companies may not. There's also lawyers that at most of the big companies that are working through these issues, worried, by the way, about certain states that could take adverse action against them, either legally or politically. So there's a whole sort of panoply of conversations that are taking place. And I also want to just throw out one other big conversation that's not happening publicly, but is happening privately, which is that some of the biggest companies in America, Walmart, Exxon, Citigroup, and AT&T, were corporate backers and made financial donations to the politicians in states that put those trigger laws into effect. So we have now companies on one end that are paying the cost of their own political moves on the other end. And I think that is probably going to be the next part of this larger debate in corporate America.
And how fascinating, Andrew, you have a lot of fairly progressive companies in, say, Silicon Valley in California, just fed up with the high taxes, the just overwhelming regulations. And so they moved to Texas for better economic climate, for lower taxes, for less regulations, more ability to turn an even bigger profit. And yet now they're faced with the cross currents of this new brand of conservatism that would require women working in their companies who are raped to have a state-sanctioned birth. My gosh, that's going to cause some complications, is it not?
Well, look, think about a firm like Goldman Sachs on the East Coast, relatively progressive, if you will, in terms of what their social policies are, and yet they have a huge office in the state of Utah, in Salt Lake City. You're seeing, as you said, lots of companies that have come to Texas, specifically Austin, Texas, and then a whole other group that have actually gone to Florida for tax purposes and the like. The one thing I would say, and I asked the question over the weekend to a lot of executives and CEOs about this, would you leave the state? Would you leave those states where those trigger laws are in effect? And the answer is no. The view is that this is, dare I say, a cost of doing business. And I have to admit, disappointed that there was nobody that I spoke to over the weekend who said, you know what, we have a moral issue about this. And even when they did have moral issues about this, and that would rue the day.
All right, Andrew Ross Sorkin, thank you once again for your insight this morning. And up next.